Hey Las Vegas, Jesse here. At the end of today's episode, I've got a sponsored interview with IS Luxury. Holly Erker, their luxury vintage Las Vegas specialist, is going to talk to me about Paradise Palms, the Scotch 80s, and why our historic mid-century neighborhoods are some of the most special and most overlooked pockets of the city. Brought to you by IS Luxury. What if we told you Las Vegas is quietly becoming one of the biggest hubs for Korean culture in the country? While overall international tourism to the city is down, visitors from South Korea actually increased last year, and this month BTS is taking over the entire city. Today on CityCast Las Vegas, we sit down with Haya Whang, founder of Koreative Events, and our executive producer Layla Muhammad, who's also a K-pop superfan, to explain why Vegas is going all in on K-culture. Plus, we'll dive into where to eat, drink, and experience all of it when the BTS Army arrives this weekend. It's Wednesday, May 20th. I'm Jesse Merrick, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. All right, Haya, Layla, thank you guys for joining us. This is a big week coming up here because the K-pop superstars BTS are coming back to town from May 20th to 31st for their BTS The City Army Wrong Las Vegas takeover. For someone like me who has no idea what that means, please paint a picture for our viewers of what exactly that looks like.
It means BTS and their fans will take over the city. Everything will be BTS themed. Everything from drinks to food to themed events. It will be all about BTS that week. And we're so thrilled to welcome BTS back to Las Vegas.
Yeah, I attended BTS's city takeover in 2022, and it was really exciting to see, screens on the strip all turned purple to welcome them. There were hotel-themed room, not giveaways, but specials. They had a restaurant on the strip that was dedicated to dishes inspired by BTS. This time around, they're turning the Welcome to Las Vegas sign red, which is the color of their comeback album.
So just for context for everybody that's listening, let's describe what the official BTS takeover is going to look like here in Vegas.
So there's going to be on the strip welcome messages on a lot of the marquee signs. There's also going to be official nightclub takeovers at Jewel and Marquee. They're doing a pop-up at the Forum Shops that was a reservation that you had to reserve a spot for, but there's going to be walk-ins welcome. So you might see a line outside of the Forum Shops, and that's what that will be. But there's also going to be, the welcome sign is turning red. Allegiant Stadium, obviously, they're doing a 4-night pretty much residency there.
A little mini residency. That's cool.
Yeah, and then I don't know what the monorail takeover is going to look like, but they're also taking over the monorail, I guess.
Haya, what are some of the things that you have circled on it, that you're like, okay, you got to check out this part of the takeover?
I think they're still announcing some other pop-up events in the future, right? And so I'm really looking forward to that. I think for me personally, I'm not a big merch person, but if there's a pop-up event just for merch, I will definitely go to that. Just to see what they have and just to, connect with other fans as well. And I'm not a huge, club fan, but I would definitely check out, fan meetups, whether it's official or unofficial, all over town.
So there's clearly a lot going on here, which is really cool to see the city kind of embrace this whole thing. But the question I have is we've got Bruno Mars, obviously at MGM. He had a street named after him and everything, but we've had Taylor Swift, Beyonce, you name it. Folks have come through town over the years here, and we haven't seen takeovers like this. So why BTS? Why are they big enough to warrant an entire city takeover?
I think for me, I've seen BTS since their debut, and they are the classic, example of what it takes to be a K-pop star. They trained for years. They built their fandom before even they debuted through reality shows, and they did a lot of fan-centered content on YouTube before anyone else. And I think that's what makes, K-pop in general very unique. And with BTS, they really, Layla, you're a fan as well. You know that they went through all different stages of their career. And I think for them to come back after their hiatus, which was, mandatory because they had to go to the military, I think this just proves that it doesn't matter if you're gone for, 2 to 3 years, your fans will be there.
Yeah, as a self-labeled fangirl, I have seen groups go on hiatus and not come back. So it's definitely a feeling of when they did go on hiatus like 4 years ago, there was a feeling of, will they come back? A lot of people doubted them on whether or not they would return as a group because they did solo work in between there. And a lot of them were actually really successful in their solo work. Albums charting, first time solo Korean artists that were hitting the Billboard Hot 100. And so a lot of people doubted if they would return as a group. And 4 years later, seeing this return, it is a big deal for not only the fans, but I think for the music industry to see a group like this return. BTS really stands for a global act. They debuted in 2013, so they're not new.
Okay. It's a long time.
Yeah, they've been together for a long time. They've been doing this a long time, and they've put in the work to kind of do something on this scale, in my opinion.
So put this in like something that makes me understand this, because, you know, I come from a sports background. I think, okay, like, are they the Michael Jordan of K-pop? If we go back to the music industry, are they, you know, like the Beatles of K-pop? Like, where would you rank them? Like, contextualize for our listeners just how big this group is within that world.
I don't think you can compare BTS to any other artist.
Really?
I think they're breaking records that the Beatles held.
Wow.
You know, so it's like they are, and people might get mad at me for saying this, but they've kind of surpassed the Beatles.
Oh man, you're gonna trigger some folks with that.
Yeah, but if you're looking like record for record, if you're going that way, they're beating all of those records.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Layla. It's really hard for me to say, oh, they're equivalent of this. And I say this with all the K-pop artists as well, because I get it. Like, it kind of gives you an idea like how big they are, but they're so different. Like, the formula is different. The level of, you know, content and, you know, music production and fan base is just completely different than what you see for Western artists. A great example that you have for One Direction. Yes, One Direction had a great, you know, fan base, but did all those fans travel to every single city to see them?
No.
I don't know. So I think the way I like to consider BTS is that, yes, they are a K-pop group, but it's also like a community. So it's bigger than record breaking or, you know, amount of money they made on tours. It's just like the commitment from fans and also from the artists too. That just makes it like a cultural movement.
The reason we're talking about this on the show today in general is just like with tourism here in Las Vegas, and it seems like there's a direct correlation with, you know, Korean culture, but like K-pop in particular really coming to Vegas and helping boost some of those numbers. I mean, when you just look at it, in South Korea in particular, which is relevant to our conversation today, tourism was up 3% last year. In Japan and also in Hong Kong, it was up in the double digits as well. So just from those markets in general, we've seen a big increase in international tourism, which is great for us here in Vegas because tourism, again, overall is down, and we're trying to figure out a way to fix this. You know, Haya, like you having a business in this world might know a little bit more why tourism has increased so much, you know, at least last year in particular from those markets.
Well, I think historically people viewed Las Vegas as a, you know, I don't want to say affordable, but, you know, a great travel destination on a budget, right? And with it being so close to LA, I think that's another factor that always played into Korean tourism. Koreans love to go to LA and Vegas and, you know, do the whole Rocky Mountains, like that whole trail of like all the tourism spots in one. So I think that's the reason why it might have gone up. But I also would like to point out too, because Vegas is so close to California, a lot of California residents moved over here to Vegas since 2020, right? And I think all the great businesses that were based in LA that couldn't quite compete with the, you know, concentrated market there, they come over here and open great restaurants and, you know, event venues. So I think that really helped too. And I think just with just Korean community here in general, we're expanding, developing, constantly trying to, you know, get better at, you know, providing unique offerings that other cities can't. I think that really helps with tourism.
Yeah, that's a great point, Haya, with our proximity to California and LA. I also found when looking up this topic and trying to really hone in on why we're seeing this tourism increase from South Korea, I actually came across something really interesting about the relationship between Las Vegas and Korea, and wonder if this is kind of like a long time coming, because in the 80s, we had a councilman, Arnie Adamson, who created a sister city program with cities in the Philippines, China, Thailand, and Korea. And there's actually like a Las Vegas like replica, like a welcome to Las Vegas sign replica in South Korea.
That's really cool.
Yeah, there's a replica of Angel Park that's out on Durango. There's a replica of that in South Korea. So I wonder if this is kind of the evolving relationship that Councilman Adamson created in the 80s or started to create in the 80s. Mayor Jan Jones Blackhurst said that sister city program kind of fell by the wayside after Mayor Goodman took over. But I wonder if there's something there that's lasted in that relationship.
Yeah, and it's clearly been a great relationship, since a lot of the tourists have been coming over from there. But again, we're seeing those numbers increase. And I think in Vegas, too, it's very clear that they're kind of, now realizing that and going all in on it with the simple fact that they're one of, if not the only artists that we're seeing take over the city. So very clearly, it's been a great experience for Vegas. Otherwise, they wouldn't do something like that. And so I asked this question kind of out of ignorance, just because I've seen other events come to town here. What are the fans like? Because obviously they're fans for a reason, because they're fanatical, right?
I wouldn't say fanatical, but
It's coming from the fan, the super fan.
Yeah, as someone who worked at all kind of music festivals here in Las Vegas and within the country, I can proudly and confidently say that K-pop fans are the most respectful and kindest and supportive group that you'll ever run into. I've worked at, all kind of music genres, and I think K-pop, it just stands out in so many ways because, one, it's very well organized. And two, fans talk to each other and plan things out ahead of time, saying, let's go here, let's do this, let's do that. They plan things. Because to them, it's not just going to a concert and listening to the music. They really want to be part of the experience. And one of the things I can also think about is the reason why BTS chose Las Vegas is because Las Vegas was so accommodating. I can't think of any other city that is as big and also well-oiled machine. We have the infrastructure, right? And I think for Vegas to be so open and accommodating, I think that's why they chose Las Vegas. And also, we have so many events and conventions that are related to these major Korean industries, like CES, right? If you look at CES vendors, half of them are Korean companies. And, K-beauty is huge. So any beauty expos, a lot of Korean companies come out here for that.
Yeah, I think it is important to point out that Las Vegas is the only other city outside of Korea that they're doing a takeover for on this tour. Last time in 2022, they did it for LA and Las Vegas. And this time around, they're only coming back to Las Vegas. So I think that shows what Haya was saying, how accommodating it is and how much Las Vegas is turning into this hub of K-pop and Korean culture.
With Vegas as a whole here, just kind of wrapping their arms around BTS and embracing this event, again, with a city takeover, that doesn't happen without that kind of vibe to it. But there's stuff going on all around town. I mean, I'm reading up on it, seeing, on the Strip, in Fremont, in the Arts District, Fountain Blue, all over the place. But Haya, there's tons of stuff going on just outside of the Strip as well. And I know your company's doing a lot of things too. So tell us a little bit about, what's going on, some of the recs, and what things are going to look like and what people should kind of keep an eye out for.
Yes. So BTS official events will mostly be on the Strip, but with Koreative Events and also local vendors and companies that are based in Vegas, we're focusing more on unofficial fan events.
Love
And I as a fan myself, I always recommend going to both, only because yes, the ones on the Strip and the official events is great. But if you really want that intimate, personalized fan experience, you have to go to these local events. And one of the events that we're doing is actually at Ichabod's Lounge. I believe it's been here in Vegas since 1984. I gotta look up the exact year. But it's a classic jazz bar started here in Vegas. And it's one of those classic Italian-American restaurants that never really renovated. Right now, everything's
Those
modernized. Yeah, modernized, industrialized, But this one is just the red leather seats and those kind of things. BTS V, he actually visited that jazz lounge last time he was here. And that's why we decided to partner up with them this year to host a fan event there. So people can see where, V sat, to where he, enjoyed the jazz music. And there's a clip of him just dancing and having a great time. But yeah, we have about 5 events scheduled for the week for the BTS week. And I'm so excited to, share that with everyone. And it's going to be a great experience.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that Ichabod's Lounge event because I remember seeing that video of BTS's V dancing and being like, oh my God, they went to somewhere local. They got off the strip and went to a small place. And Haya, your event it's going to be jazz renditions of BTS songs, right?
Yes.
Nice.
I like that
by
riff on it. That's
local
cool.
Vegas artists.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I love how you're mixing in the local element with just the craziness that is this event and this group coming to town, and also too, I mean, so many times we see, you guys mentioned it, it's the culture around this whole event is very much like give and take, not just take, and I think that's really cool. And you see it in the artists as well, that they're going out, like you said, to local spots off the strip. But we had a viewer or a listener from CityCast actually reach out asking like how to navigate all the good Korean food offerings around town. And so like, Haya, again, this is your world here. Can you let us know some hot spots around town where maybe it's this week when, BTS comes into town where they should check it out. But like, let's go through a rundown of a couple different things. All right. Because as far as I know we have Chinatown, and I only know of like Koreatown Plaza, I believe, right? Like we don't actually have a definitive Koreatown, correct?
Yes, correct. And with Korean restaurants, it's kind of all scattered all over, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple places I always recommend to people that are visiting Vegas. But there's so many great Korean restaurants here. I always ask them, what's the setting like? Is this just you and your friend? Did you want like an elevated fine dining experience? For Korean barbecue, one of the favorite spots right now at this time is Goat. It's inside the Venetian. It is a fine dining experience. And at first, I was kind of hesitant because it's a Michelin star restaurant from New York. They opened this year, and I was kind of hesitant because I'm like, is this going to be really Korean or is it going to be like Korean inspired? It's very two different things, right? So I'm not really a huge fan of fusion restaurants either. So I thought it was going to be more fusion-like. I had the chance to go when they first opened and recently as well. And I just have to say their, quality, the food quality is great and their service is amazing. So I would definitely recommend that for fine dining experience. But if you're looking for more casual spots, I would definitely look into, Chinatown, Southwest, and even Henderson.
So do you have a go-to spot? I think I might have cut you off before you're going to get to one that's in those neighborhoods in general.
Yeah, so one of my favorites, so I have 2. So one of my favorites is Master Kim's. It's a franchise here in Las Vegas. They have 3 locations. And I was told that they're going to open one soon on the Strip, which is really exciting. Yeah.
Hot tip
I can't
here,
tell you
okay.
exactly where because I'm not part of that team, so I don't want to spill the tea too much. But yeah, Master Kim's is great. My favorite location is the Town Square location. It's so convenient. If you're staying on the Strip, just go down the Las Vegas Boulevard and you'll be right there. And you get to do some shopping afterwards. But if you're in the Henderson area, I personally love Doma. Layla, I think I took you one time. It's where I feel like a lot of Koreans go, only because not only is their meat quality and service is great, but their side entrees like the doenjang soup or the cold naengmyeon noodles they just do it right over there. So I definitely recommend. And if I had a really picky Korean parent, I would take them there because it's pretty authentic. From my perspective, it's less sweet.
Okay.
A lot of like Korean barbecue area in the Chinatown area, they make everything really sweet. And I think they're just trying to cater to, the local market. The other place I would highly recommend to if you're vegetarian or have any dietary restrictions is Mr. Tofu. They specialize in hot stone tofu soups. And they have a bunch of banchans. I think they have 20 at a time.
Wow.
So you can pick and choose what you want to eat, and it's all inclusive. So it's great.
That's really cool. I love hearing about all the different stuff like that. I'm a big KBB fan, so any chance I can go and get it, I don't have to try some of the spots you named there. But I think this broader topic, this broader discussion to me makes me wonder, at Vegas as a whole, we've seen them reinvent themselves so much, over the years. And specifically with sports, they've turned that into one of their pillars and becoming the sports and entertainment capital of the world. The other element of that, obviously the entertainment factor, with bringing groups like BTS out here. So I'm curious, Haya, if you think maybe this is something Vegas does go all in terms of, becoming a Korean cultural hotspot and making that one of their pillars to help increase tourism here locally.
I think Vegas needs to go all in with K-pop. It's not a trend. It's not going to go anywhere. K-pop has been strong, very internationally strong since early 2000s.
Okay.
And K-pop is a government-funded project initially, where the Korean government funded so much into the arts to make great art exports, right, imports to other countries. And I think K-pop is not just one thing. With K-pop, it comes with like the food, the culture, the movies, the films, the K-beauty. It's everything. I might be biased here, but it's very colorful. Once you learn it and experience it, it's really hard to get out of it. And it's a great experience. And I always tell people, anyone who would listen, that Vegas has a great canvas for something like this, and if anyone can do it, it's Vegas.
Yeah, and Haya, I think you even messaged me about, like, have you noticed that in the past few years there's been not just BTS events, and BTS is doing the city takeover, but K-pop artists in general. There's been more K-pop events, K-pop concerts, less touring artists are skipping over Vegas and they're actually coming here and doing concerts. There's going to be a whole water bomb festival that they usually do in Korea in Las Vegas that they're bringing here.
What exactly is that? Sorry, because that sounds cool.
I mean, it's kind of like a water music festival where they're just shooting water into the crowd and people are and K-pop stars are performing, and it looks like a really fun time. Haya is skeptical about how it's gonna go in Las Vegas, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
But just in general, there's been more K-pop coming to Las Vegas, and I think they're welcoming it. And so I'd love to see that trajectory keep going.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see that continue going. I just love Vegas when it embraces itself as an international city. I think that's one of the things that makes us really unique. And so it's really cool to see them do that. So Haya, Layla, thank you so much. I have my work cut out for me. I need to study up on some of the K-pop music and make sure I'm tapped in on BTS, because I want to check out at least one of these events that's going on around town.
Yeah, they're taking over the monorail. Go ride the monorail when they're in town, and you'll hear some BTS music probably.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Hey, listener, don't go anywhere. In just a moment, we have a sponsored interview with Holly Urker, the luxury vintage Las Vegas specialist at IS Luxury, to talk about why our city's mid-century modern neighborhoods are some of the most underrated treasures in town and what it actually takes to preserve them. Hey there, I'm Jesse Merrick here with Holly Urker, luxury real estate advisor at IS Luxury. Holly, welcome to CityCast Las Vegas.
Jesse, I'm excited to be here with you.
Yeah, me too. As a lover of mid-century modern homes and style, all of it, I'm so fired up for this one. You're obviously IS Luxury's vintage Vegas specialist. For folks who only know the Strip and the suburbs, which are great places to live in Summerlin and all that stuff, but downtown, especially in Paradise Palms and those areas too, they're just different. So what is it about Paradise Palms, John S. Park, Rancho Nevada Estates, McNeil Estates, and those beautiful homes in the Scotch 80s that make it so special?
It's really the highest concentration of that style of architectures from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, all located down there. As we know, when the city started developing, it was all through downtown. So that's where you see the decades of architecture concentrated down there. That's one of the things that makes it so special.
Yeah, and they're not all just boxes that look the same, which I think is awesome, because there's just lacking of character in some of the other areas around town too. So I love that it's like that. And obviously, with those older homes, comes a lot of work that goes into them. And you're somebody that's actually walked the walk on this. You've gotten your hands dirty and you've personally restored a historic home in Paradise Palms, one that I'm so jealous that you got to live in. That project in particular earned a 10-page feature in Atomic Ranch magazine and a spot on the Nevada Preservation Foundation's Home and History Tour. What did that experience teach you about restoring these homes that you couldn't have learned any other way?
I think everything comes with experience, and mostly getting through the process of it gave us this such place of community that we could start to see a momentum in the neighborhood and other people taking on larger scale projects. It demonstrated to our community just how involved we were, how important it was for us to restore the story of the house, which restores the story of the neighborhood. And it was exposure for us, but more importantly, it was exposure for the community, which isn't just, yes, a standalone amazing community, but it's all of the vintage homes downtown that gain momentum and gain benefits from that.
Yeah, look, as a vintage homeowner myself, like I feel that anytime I see any of those homes down there. So like I was so fired up flipping through the pages, looking at yours. Like it's just awesome seeing that. And the keyword that you're using and all that is restore, not remodel, because you're keeping it true to the roots. And I think that's so key. And honestly, I think more people do need to get in on the vintage Las Vegas home. So for the Las Vegas viewer who's maybe been eyeing a Palmer or a Chrysler home in Paradise Palms, or thinking about selling a piece of their own if they already have one, one of those pieces of vintage historical history here in Vegas, what's the best way to get in touch with you to do so?
You can find me on my website, hollyerker.com. Instagram, I've got platforms on every social media outlet. I pick up my phone. I don't send people to voicemail.
That's key, yeah.
It's important for me to connect, and I consult people with their home projects too, is like my resources or how to work with the home is really what's important to provide the integrity of the architecture. And I certainly have consulted with many neighbors and friends just from my perspective and my experience of how to go about that and what to keep, what is okay to replace and what buyers are looking for. I tell people, keep in mind, yes, modify the home for yourself, but keep in mind future resale.
Yeah, no, it's so key to keep that in mind. And like you said, there's so many layers to it. And that's where the relationship building part of it comes in, because it's not an easy process remodeling homes. It is a long, stressful thing. And so having someone like you there to kind of help them along the way that has that true experience is so invaluable. And again, too, thank you for not just destroying these homes and really restoring them to their original charm. That's just so cool to be able to do that and really to keep vintage Vegas alive. We appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you. It was just an honor to be here. Thank you for sharing my passion with me.
And if you guys are curious about Paradise Palms, the Scotch 80s, or any of the historic mid-century modern neighborhoods that Holly does work in, or whether you're looking to buy or sell, or just geek out about the architecture like me, you can reach her through IS Luxury at isluxury.com. Thanks for listening. That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our free morning newsletter too. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm/Las Vegas. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Until then, though, take it easy.